Hi, in this video we're going to dynamically add a tag in the HTML document with JavaScript. The use case that we often see in web forms is to add a feedback message that helps the user fill out a specific field when that field gets focus. So we see it, for example, in the specific case that we're going to look at is in the password field. So when the password gets focus, then this message will appear here on the right side, whereas when it loses focus, in other words, when it's blurred, this message is gonna disappear. And I can show you right away the expected result. So the expected result is when somebody focuses here on the password field, there is this message that appears, and if the password field loses focus, then the message will disappear. Now, the process essentially to add the message is the following. We need to create a tag. In our case, it's going to be the div tag. And we're going to do that with JavaScript. We're going to specify the text. So in our case, will be use at least 6 characters. And again, we're going to do it with JavaScript, and we're going to add it with JavaScript to the existing document tags. That is essentially the process to follow. Now, more specifically, how to do that, we're creating an element with the createElement method, which is part of the document object. And in our case, we're going to create a div tag. Then we're going to specify text within that div tag with the document.createTextNode method. And then we're going to append it to the div tag with the appendChild method. We're going to specify the ID so that we can refer then to the newly created tag with a .id property. And finally, we're ready to add the new tag in the existing ones of the document with the appendChild. But let's see how to actually do that in practice. So as you can see here, I am in the password field. And what I want to do is to show a help message to the user when the tag gets focus. So for that reason, I'm going to use the onFocus event. I'm going to specify a new function, and I'm gonna name it show help message. I'm gonna copy that name and then go, as we did previously, within the script tags and specify this function. So there are no arguments, and here we're gonna now place our code. So as we said, we're first gonna use the document create element method, and what we want to create is a div tag. So we need to specify this within single quotes, and we're going to assign this to a variable which we're going to mention help message. So essentially, with this line of code, we create an element, we specify what that element is within single quotes, that's the div one, and we assign it to this variable. Now the next thing to do is to create another variable which is going to be the text for this div tag, and for that we need to use the method createTextNode, and here now we can type the text that we want to have in the div tag that we specified one line above. So since it is about passwords, and since we want our users to characters, we want to have at least 6 characters for the password, we're going to specify this text. Now, in order to refer to this newly created div element, which we assigned in this variable, we need to specify its ID, and we're going to use the same text with a variable. So the ID attribute of this newly created div is help msg, help message. Now the next thing to do is to append the text that we created with the create text node. So what we did is first we created the element, then we created a new text, we specified the ID of the new element, and now we append this text into the element. In other words, the div tag now is going to have as text use at least 6 characters. Now the final thing to do is to append, now that we are ready, now that we have made a new div tag and it has text, now we need to append it within the existing tags in the document. Now as you can see, let me scroll down, as you can see, this tag right here, I want this message to appear right after the input tag, so here. Now as you can see, I have enclosed this tag, so the input and the label within this div tag, which has as ID div password. So I need to append it, in other words, I need to insert it within this div tag. And in order to do that, we're gonna append the child within this element. So again, we're going to use the append child method, and now what we want to append is this newly created div tag. So, and this is essentially the end of our function. And now I save the file and I'm going to return to my form. So I'm going to refresh the form. And as you can see here, when I focus the field, I'm going to refresh again the form so that you can see that here no message exists. And when I focus, when I click, in other words, in the password field, I receive this message. Now what I also want to do is when I click outside this, when the password field loses focus, in other words, when it blurs, I want this message to actually disappear. Now in order to do that, we need to specify here the onBlur event, and we need to create now a different function which we're gonna name hide help message. So I'm gonna copy the name, and here within our script tag we're gonna specify the hide help message function. Now the tag to remove is defined by the ID that we specified up here, and that ID was help msg, help message, right? So I'm gonna access this newly created, which is dynamically created, as you can see from this function. I need to access it with the well-known by now method getElementById, and I'm gonna assign it to this variable which I named tag to remove. Now, and in order to actually remove the tag, we need to use the following. So we need to specify the parent node object, and then remove the remove child method. So that would be the way to remove a dynamically created element. So I'm going to save the file. I'm going to refresh the page. Now when I click within the password field, I get this message. When I click outside, in other words, when the password field loses focus, when the onBlur event triggers, then this message disappears. So by using the remove child method, we can remove a certain tag, a certain element. Now, as you can see that the message is not aligned, and it doesn't have the red font color that I wished, and that actually we can easily solve by creating a certain class in CSS. Well, I have already done that, which you can find in the form.css. So let me show you this file. So as you can see here, I have specified a class within my CSS file, which has the rule.help message, which colors the text into red and displays the feedback message in line. And all that I need to do is to actually assign that class name into the help, into the newly created, to the dynamically created, I should say, tag. And in order to do that, I need to assign its property class name, and I need to give it a value, which, as you saw, it's the same value in this CSS file. And I'm going to save again the HTML file and refresh my page. And now, as you can see, the feedback message right here is in line and has red as font color. And that essentially concludes our video.